Welcome back to BattleTanx. Now we are going to start fighting all three of the gangs that control this territory in the west at the same time. And of course, we're doing it at Area 51. So we're going to have to rescue three Queen Lords, one from the Mech Maniacs, one from the Nuclear Knights, and one from Charlie Company, all at the same time. And as usual, we're going to take a look around and see what items we can get in the immediate vicinity of our fortress. I should have mentioned before that there is a way you can switch back to your Goliath tank. Like, if you get a message that it's under attack and you want to take down enemies yourself, you can. But at this stage, there's not much reason to do that. It's pretty much just going to be either the little machine gun guys or individual tanks that come after your fortress. And the Goliath tank is not going to struggle at all taking care of that. So for now, we're going to move across the north side of the map. And there are these little side areas where you can pick up health power-ups if you need them. Or if you just want to stockpile them for the more dangerous sections later on. There is a reason we're going through here, because there's a bunker here. There are several bunkers in this area, and I'm going to try and take down most of them before I start going after any fortresses. And we're going to head immediately south, and there's a courtyard-style area here. Something else you have to be careful about, aside from the turrets, is that there are several buildings that are surrounded by landmines. So if you're going through this really fast, it's easy to end up behind a cloud of smoke, not see what's in front of you, and just run straight into a bunch of landmines and die. Something else about this area is, this is where you really can't be too concerned about saving most of your power-ups. This tower here, by the way, is useful, because for when you start taking down fortresses, there's guided missiles underneath it. However, it's also surrounded by landmines, so you're going to need a way to get to that. There's another bunker. And I'm taking advantage of my health stockpile, because once you start taking down buildings, turrets will appear inside, I want to say 1 and 2, 1 and 3 of them. And then at some point you'll just find yourself almost completely surrounded by turrets if you start going through this too fast, or start going through the central areas too often. And I should have noted, even if you don't already know where the bunkers are, if you have the radar, just look for where the red dots start appearing. You're going to see me do that a little later on. Right now I'm clearing out the south end of the map. This is useful because when I start going toward the two fortresses on the southwest and southeast corners of the map, I'm going to have to probably drive past this area. And as we hit the side of this other fortress, you're going to see that I get a cloaking item. That's going to play a role much later on, but I won't spoil what exactly I do with it. Now, to help move along the rest of this southern part of the map, I'm taking down one of these buildings. You're going to see that I couldn't quite get all the way to the north end of this map, and that's because, like here, I have to destroy a building in order to access that. And I want to access that because I want to show you something a little unique about this particular stage. But for now, let's try not to run over these exploding barrels. Alright. Even at this point in the game, and we're almost 2/3 of the way through the game, swarmers are pretty much going to be useful whenever. Or lasers, or anything that you can fire during the delay of your regular turret shots. Alright. Got rid of the heavy guns guarding the southeast fortress. And as usual, there's nothing we can do about the fortified bunkers, but that was a regular bunker. We're at the point now where there's, I believe, one more bunker left. And most of what we're going to have to just worry about here is the turrets that I haven't gotten to yet. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up a little bit. However, I am going to show you, at various points my Goliath tank and my fortress do come under attack. The worst that'll happen, usually, is they'll destroy the building holding the Queen Lord, but they won't actually get to the Queen Lord. There's another bunker. And the Goliath tank also comes under attack, but you're going to see even later on that it doesn't even get damaged, or at least it doesn't look like it gets damaged, like when it's lower than half health. But main reason I'm here, extra tanks. I believe there was also one in the tower that I passed by earlier, but I'm at the point where getting extra tanks is a little excessive. I'm up to 20-something. However, since my fortress has come under attack a couple of times, I'm going to go ahead and show you the status of it. I've still got a gun buddy there, and the Goliath tank still looks fine. The building's collapsed, but so long as the Queen Lord is still there, who cares? This is basically housekeeping duty. I'm just taking out all the turrets and gun buddies that are around this last fortress in the northeast corner. And I should have mentioned it earlier, but when I do eventually take out the Goliath tanks that are in each fortress, I'm going to do it in different ways. I'm going to try and use 3 different methods for taking down each of these Goliath tanks. So you can look forward to that in the future. For now, though, you can see these turrets and other little areas to the north that I seemingly can't access. However, there's a building right here I can knock down. I'm going to do it with a grenade so I can get rid of some of these landmines. Because you are going to see this area is absolutely covered in landmines. However, if you don't have grenades or anything else that you can use to destroy them, you can still very carefully maneuver through this minefield. Now, why would you want to? Well, there are a couple of reasons. 1, there's another stockpile of health here. 2, extra turrets you can destroy for points if you're so inclined to do that. And 3, there's something hidden in one of these hangars. You might have noticed earlier on that I passed by a hangar which had a bunch of police cars in front of it. And we also have a hangar here with a bunch of police cars in front of it. Well, inside the hangar is a UFO. This is Area 51 after all. And if we destroy the UFO, it explodes like a party favor sort of, but it also leaves this behind. We can't do anything with this yet. We're going to have to go to another hangar and do something with that. But there's also a bunch of bonus points and guided missiles if you want to take down the Goliath tanks the traditional way. Actually, I guess the traditional way would be charging headfirst at it and hoping you don't die. But we'll call guided missiles the traditional way for now. Have I mentioned I really don't like landmines? Oh, there are other items off to the side here if you really want to go for them. But there's not much point in it. Okay. There's also a bunch of guided missiles here. But I'm going to try and hold on to this shield as long as I can. And it looks like there's still one more bunker that I missed. I'm fast forwarding through this part because it's basically me doing some light housekeeping, taking out some gun turrets, some of the tanks that spawned from the bunker I haven't done yet. And I'm also getting a fresh shield. Because remember how I hate going after these things because they very slightly bob and weave back and forth, and it can make them a little difficult to hit from distance. Anyway, now that we have a fresh shield, I'm going to start moving in on this first fortress, and this will be method number 1 that I use to take down the Goliath tank. And this is the pseudo-traditional way, where I charge in and let my shield protect me from any harm. That was method number 1. Number 2, we're going to do something a little different. However, I am going to make sure I destroy this building, because it'll make it easier when I'm starting to pick up all the Queen Lords at once. There you are. Okay. I believe that's... No, that's not all the bunkers. Or is it? I can't even remember. But now we're going to start using method number 2, the traditional way, guided missiles from outside of the Goliath tank's range. Method number 3 is the most fun way, but it's also kind of a waste of an item, depending on what you're doing with it. I'm not going to say what exactly it is yet, but there's also a bonus tank in this tower. I believe I mentioned that earlier, but I just now picked it up. I'm also going to take care of the turret inside, so I don't have to deal with that later. But for now, there's a little matter of that UFO I discovered on the north end. Because we have another bunker here surrounded by police cars. And there's another UFO here. There is kind of a unique function to destroying both of these UFOs, which is this thing they leave behind has a very specific function. It's a warp point. So it offers you a little way to travel from the north part of the map to the south part of the map. However, odds are I'm probably not going to use it. I might actually, because it's something you can use to sort of throw off any units that are starting to chase you down. Because some will chase you down if they're close enough, and others will just start heading toward your fortress. Anyway, I'm just destroying some buildings here to help clear out the area. Taking care of some gun buddies, you know, the usual. Okay, now we're in position to make an assault on the final fortress. And this is method number 3 I'm going to use. Abuse of cloaking. No one can see me until I fire my first shot, so I have my lasers queued and ready. I'm going to get behind the Goliath tank and let loose. And after a while, even when you make yourself known, they still won't be able to find you if you just don't shoot for a while. Alright. Now it's time to start picking up these queens. As usual, there's not a whole lot you can do about the fortified bunkers. However, if you do want to stall for time and maybe take down the first wave of units that comes out of them, you can try putting down landmines in front of them. It's not going to help for the second or third or fourth wave or anything beyond that, but it can help stall for a little time while you're moving around and getting these other Queen Lords. And speaking of, we have Queen Lord number 2.
Rescued.
I forgot that there was a turret inside that building, but no problems. And just because I can, we're warping to the north end of the map. I usually don't do this because in order to get out of here and access the final fortress, you have to go back and around where that building was. It's usually just easier for me to head straight north to the last fortress. It looks like there are units that are starting to either move toward us or the fortress. It's hard to tell at this point. Yes, they are heading toward us. But now we have all the Queen Lords. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is very easy to get overconfident when you're in this position. You have a ton of items, you have all the Queen Lords. All you have to do is go back to your fortress and the level ends. That's not what we're going to do. Instead, I'm going to muck around in the middle of the map, go directly against all of these tanks that spawned, And it looks like we're in good shape. You know, I still have a ton of missiles, I've got all my health, I got a ton of health power-ups, I'm knocking down more buildings to get more power-ups. I'm destroying these things to get ammo, which ammo's never a worry at this difficulty. But, oh, I can't see, and I ran into some mines. All the items are gone, all the Queen Lords are gone, and we have to do that all over again. And this is why you should just go to the end of the stage. But anyway, fast forwarding through this, there is one more thing I'm going to show you as I'm running around picking up all these Queen Lords. There's one more item here that I haven't mentioned yet, which is the nuke, which can be found here. Also, you saw a turret that popped up as soon as I knocked down that building, but no matter. We're going to do something a little fun with the nuke near the end of the stage. I typically don't use the nuke because the blast radius on it is so big that it's usually going to end up damaging your tank or your fortress, and the last thing you need is to damage your own Goliath tank. However, once we get to the end of this, if the fortified bunkers will stop spawning stuff for just a moment. This is also another reason to go through these bunkers and leave some buildings standing, is cover for when you have to make this return trip. Okay, my Goliath tank is still standing. That's good. Now, launch the nuke right outside my base and complete the level. In 3, 2, 1... Oh, we lost, but we still won. Even with all that messing around and huge mistake with running into the minefield, still under the power time. And our army continues to grow and grow. Although, I lost one, so yeah, there it goes. Next time on BattleTanx, we still gotta deal with all three of these gangs at the same time, but we're doing it in Las Vegas.